Have you ever wanted to own a supercar? Well, maybe after watching this video, you'll think twice about that. Here is amazing cars that are terrible to own. First off, the McLaren F1. This came out in 1992 as the fastest production car in the world. It held this title for an entire decade. Called an automotive work of art and has been regarded by many as the greatest supercar ever made. So, what are the cons to owning something like this? Unless you have a lot of money. It costs $1.2 million to purchase in today's money, and if you wanted to buy one of those, the costs were not the end of what you were going to shell out. A tire change on this car would set you back $50K, and you would think $50,000 for a tire change? I'll tell you why they needed to do that. Because McLaren required you to rent a private racetrack, hire a professional driver, who would then work with an engineer that you would hire to tune your car and getting the tires and suspension dialed in. You drive it or it just sits in your garage, the significant parts have an expiration date. The fuel cell alone has to be replaced after 5 years and will set you back $100,000. It's a cool car, but it's also a money pit and a maintenance nightmare. Number 2, the Dodge Viper. One of the most iconic sports cars in American history, with a massive 8-liter engine V10 that generated 400 horsepower at the wheels, and taking into account that the car only weighs about 3,000 pounds, this thing can fly. Although that all makes the car fun, it also makes it dangerous. That much engine power in a small frame makes this thing a little sketchy to drive. Not only can you burn some serious rubber in a Viper, but you could also burn your leg off. A little oversight in the placement of the exhaust ports on the Generation 1 Vipers led to exactly this. It was located right under the door where you would set your legs when stepping out. In fact, it was so bad, articles were published about it and Dodge had to ditch this design completely because it was an ankle burner and it cooked human legs. Here's another fun fact for you. The engine in the early Vipers were actually derived from a Lamborghini because Chrysler at the time owned Lamborghini, which leads us into our next number 3. Lamborghini Countach. This beautiful car will test the limits of your physical flexibility. Trying to get in and out of the seats while manipulating your body awkwardly around those scissor doors is a little bit tricky, to say the least. Due to this car's unique design, the gas and brake pedals are offset, which meant you had to sit almost sideways when driving this thing. Owners have often complained of severe back pain when driving this for extended periods of time. Not only do you need a lot of money for this car, but you also need to know a good chiropractor or maybe even a yoga instructor. Then again, I guess you buy this car to look cool, not to be comfortable. That's not the only issue. Your field of vision is limited to this tiny piece of glass when it comes to backing up. That's your back window. Now, in order to back safely, you have to open the doors and look turning sideways to back up to make sure you're not running into anything.
Execute the perfect reverse park maneuver now. In that.
I can't see anything.
The way to get round that was to get one cheek up here.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just back her in, you see?
Back her in?
Though the Countach has a great place in Lamborghini history, I wouldn't look to add this one to my garage. Number 4. Famously known as the quickest accelerating production car of all time, the Tesla Plaid has beaten them all off the line, including Hellcats, Bugatti Chirons, McLarens, Ferraris, and the list of hypercars, muscle cars, and supercars goes on. This flagship EV was a surprising monster on the track. Bringing a Tesla to a drag race is like bringing a lightsaber to a fencing tournament. course, as a daily driver, this car has its own set of issues.
Brad, I forgot to show you, probably one of the coolest features on the car. Oh, okay. The screen just went black, so I have no idea how fast I'm going and I can't control anything in the car. So do you feel safe?
Problems with the Tesla is not a small
A
list.
Tesla Model S engulfed in flames today after its battery compartment spontaneously caught fire. They have videos and photos of this. Sac Metro fire crews battled these flames on eastbound Highway 50 in Rancho Cordova. It took 2 fire engines, a water tender, and a ladder truck. 6,000 gallons of water were used to put out the fire as the cell continued to combust. Luckily, no one was hurt.